3 times, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I do all the time is that all the work that I do is hidden, right? So I'll be doing one thing and it might say one thing on the tin, but it's actually something else. And that's because if I was told people what it really was, they might be frightened of embracing it. So it's kind of a bit sneaky. It's a bit Trojan horsey, but it's done with an intent that it can only lead to fantastic outcomes.
Yeah.
So if we were to one breathing technique you can use is where you breathe in and out, and on the first out breath, you imagine you step forward, and on
Can we
the
do
in
this
breath,
with you? Sorry.
yeah, I want you just to, I'm kind of doing the script. I haven't done this for ages. I want to just get the script right. So you step forward on the out breath with your left leg, and you can do this even sitting down. And then on the in breath, you bring up your right leg, so it's parallel, so it's sticky. It hasn't gone forward. It's just up with your left leg, right? And then you do another in breath, and you go forward with your right leg, and then the left leg catches up. And then you go backwards. So you breathe out again, and then the left leg goes backwards. And on the in-breath, then the right leg goes backwards. But you've ended up one step further forward than you were. So you've gone 2 forward and 1 back.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And then you do it again. 2 forward, 1 back. So it's all these patterns of 3s, 2 forward, 1 back. And after 3 patterns of 3, and the numbers are really important because they amplify and bring in other energies, you've actually taken 9 in and out breaths, but you've actually stepped forward by 3.
Yes.
Just by using the breath.
I think Louisa's already gone there.
Yeah.
All right.
How cool's that?
Yeah.
I did imagine that on this table of the keys, because I re-listened and it was like stepping forward, and that was my confusion. Am I supposed to try to follow this path in my mind with mantras of the different cards, the different keys laid out, or do I just not have any thoughts about it, just taking that step forward and the step backward?
Great
on the
question.
breath?
So the thoughts, if you try and intellectualize this stuff too much, you spend ages doing it. And this is why I got out of the mystery school I was working with. They were taking the tarot to this extreme, and I just thought, well, you're putting too much thought into it, and you're not letting the tarot do its magic. So the pattern sits there, and it will work its magic. And you can, as I said, you could get the actual cards and lay them out and just leave them out somewhere, and they will work. Or you can just pull 3 cards or 1 card at random. And I do that every day. I've got a bunch of cards down here. I'll just show you. That's my bunch of cards. I've got a deck, 2 tarot decks, 3 tarot decks there, and a deck of symbols from the Cryon School. And I just pull a card of the day. I don't even reference them. I don't even think what they're doing. And they just help me step forward, and ideas come in when I need it. So this idea, I didn't pre-think this idea of the breath, 2 steps forward, 1 back, and this sort of stuff. It just popped in. And if it works, it's great. And if it doesn't work, we'll modify it. And then you could modify it by saying, well, actually, what I'll do is I'll do 4 steps forward and 1 back. So and that's in 4 breaths, you've actually taken 3 steps forward. And then you can go on and on. So actually, I'm not going to take any steps back at all now, because I'm pretty confident I can just keep going now.
That's what happened when I was just doing that in my head. I realized stepping forwards twice and then 1 back. You get used to the dance of stepping forwards, because there's a feeling of trust almost that you can always find yourself back where you were. But then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't need to step back anymore.
Yeah, and then you think, oh, actually, that version of me that was 3 steps backwards, that's the one that had the fear and of stepping forwards. I can let that version of me go now. I'm going to do this. But most importantly, I think it'd be really, really helpful for people that you take on this journey to not use the label breathwork. Like I don't use the label tarot, because it might freak them out a little bit. You know what I mean? So and so there's loads of breathwork practitioners on Insight Timer where I've got loads of my stuff, and I've got loads of meditations that use the breath, but I don't call myself a breathwork practitioner.
Yeah.
One, because I've never been formally trained in. I've not even been formally trained in doing meditation. So there you go.
And
So,
neither have I.
exactly, yeah. But that doesn't mean. But we're all trained in. We're all in the school of life, and
I've studied it on my own. Yes, yeah,
exactly. And you've been through what you've been through as well. So specifically, if we really zero in on finding courage. So if you imagine that somebody's going through a dis-ease, so it might be a cancer, it could be anything. If we could use breath to help people deal with the courage to face that disease, and actually using the breath as well is a great way of actually energizing the body and bringing more energy into the blood. And the more blood flow we got around affected areas helps with the healing of that area as well. So for me, and if you were keen to do this, and I'm very happy to do sessions with you either on or off this call, just to how could you create a suite of products to help people find the courage. And it's that loose.
Yeah,
it's that loose. So it could be the courage to go through a terrible disease, or it could be the courage to step up and start a new business, find a new partner, all of those things, or just get out there. So and we all need a bit of a helping hand, which is
that's the main reason I wanted to do this, is because because of the cancer that I had, and the chemo damaged my peripheral nerves, so I live in constant nerve pain from peripheral neuropathy, and I became very depressed. And through the breath, I've been able to come off of pain medication and all kinds of things. So that is a big one for me, helping people realize that they can get through pain and disease by using breath. So you hit the nail on the head on that one, Tom. I didn't bring that up as one of my big courages, but it was the major one in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people you can really help. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. When you were talking about all the tarot decks that you've got there, Tom, I was frantically, like, just without actually moving my head, because obviously I'm on screen, but frantically thinking, oh my God, where am I? And then I realized there's another something that I do when I don't have like a tarot deck, just to pull a card out, because like you, I think it's really helpful just to pick something out and almost consider it. And that's bibliomancy, so going to a book and opening it at a random page and seeing what comes up and whether that refers to your answer. And back in sort of 10 years ago, when I used to train creativity for corporations, I used to do an exercise called, we all used to have the sort of, what are they called? I can't even remember what they're called now, the yellow pages. Those big business directories with all the telephone numbers.
The phone book,
yeah, the phone book. There you go. I don't think they exist anymore. Do they exist?
Only the strong men to rip them in half. That's all.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when we had a problem with something we were trying to work with, we would flick through the business pages of the yellow book and see what came up, and we'd say, okay, how would an undertaker deal with this? How would a beauty salon deal with this? Wherever our finger landed, we would ask ourselves a series of questions. How would the undertaker find courage to move forwards? With the exact question you've got. And we also used to do superhero training as well. So we would say, how would Superman deal with this? What would Wonder Woman do with this? And, I just think the whole question of how would anything, like, you could look around your room and I think tune into the inherent goodness or purpose of, for instance, I don't know, this ruler. I mean, like, if we were to ask, how would this ruler do it? You might say, well, you would work in increments. Like one tiny little step at a time. Whereas if I was to ask a pencil, you might start to write it out. So I just think there's clues around us, and when we're interacting with different things, it's unlocking our mind. Would you say that, Tom? Because it's not the tarot that's really giving you the message; it's you perceiving the tarot card.
Yeah, as you would do when you do an astrology reading as well. I did a similar exercise in my writing classes, and I just get when I'm doing live workshops, I get someone in the audience just to say a number, and that'd be a page that I'd open, and I say get someone else to give me a number, another number which is a number of lines down, and another number which is the word, and then find the word that way. Then I find 4 words, put them on a mind map with at the center their dream for their book, and get them to free associate from that thing. In fact, that's exactly how I got the flavors of thought in the first place. I took the word light, I took the word light bulb moment, and I put light, bulb, and moment on a mind map, and I went out from there. And you know, with bulb you go for tulip, and with moment you also have them, funny enough, not just the moment, which is the moment we're in now, funnily enough, on the moment, but you also have the moment of a lever, which you just, funny that you had a ruler out there, right? So all these things are out there. And then light,
no accidents, Tom.
yeah, and then light, and no accidents, and light we can split into a spectrum. And then I realized that quarks, which are fundamental particles, can also be split into spectrums, and they color these quarks. And I went, hang on, thoughts are similar to fundamental particles too. They're 10-dimensional waves, not that that's realized by science at the moment. And so you can also have colors of thought or flavors of thought, and that's where that metaphor took me. And I'd recommend you do this also with something like any new thing. By the way, if you do the derivation of the word undertaker and you go back to the original words in French and Sanskrit, an undertaker is an entrepreneur, someone that undertakes to do something. We've just given it a different meaning.
Wow, that's cool.
Haven't we just quite a strong meaning?
Can I
so any new idea, do free association mind mapping with it, and it will take you to a different place, and it also extrapolates it to a place with a metaphor and a set of archetypes that you can take to a new audience that will never have done this stuff. So you wouldn't think, if you're going through chemo or something like that, you know what, the breath is the solution here. It's not offered by the allopathic medical industry. So the breath is. I've got a meditation which I can share with you. I've got this course called Healing Alchemy, which is absolutely free, and in there is a meditation. But the breath of life, a meditation using water, and also a temporal meditation as well, by changing, by softening time and healing using time. So that's free to anybody, because I believe that healing should be free. But also, you want to use any of that stuff, Deb, and
what is your, where do I find this, Tom?
On that website, tomevans.co, you go to the second tab, which is the Aditum. Then you'll find there's a healing alchemy course there for free. There's also a course called Abundant Thinking, which is also free. And because I believe that we can get money flowing around by not putting tariffs up, then it's very healthy for the whole of the planet.
Absolutely.
Can I make a couple of points after you've made yours?
I was just going to say, Debs, if you've got a question like, how do I take the next step?
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Is that your question? How do I take the next step, or what's the best?
Yeah, I did come across some music. It's funny, one of the synchronicities is me saying, if I could just have the music to go along, there's a rhythm to the breath. That's what I love doing. I love listening to headphones to a rhythm while I'm doing my breath work. And then one of the people I follow for breath work released on Patreon his music for free to use in classes. So that was, I was like, well, there you go. So I've been practicing that for the past few days, trying to, make a video using his music. And so that was, but yeah, how do I?
So if you got your question, like, how do I take the next step? If you think of a color and a number between say 1 and 150, and I will find out of my books, I'll find the right color book, and I'll go to the page of the number and see if there's a message for you, whilst Carl asks the next thing.
Well, I was wondering,
but I need a color and a number first. We've got all color books.
Blue and 120.
Blue and 120. I'll be back shortly.
Right. I wanted to reiterate Tom's key theme of reframing, and how it seems to me there's a dynamic of the mind that it's a bit like how we revert to fear. That's the safety thing. And how our mind seems to work is to focus on one thing as almost as a safety feature. And all of these techniques and devices we're talking about keeping the mind open, aren't they? They're about changing our perspective, which is the only thing that really changes, and not getting stuck in how do I, or I'm afraid. You know, the single thought, the hang up, if you like, becomes predominant. And all of these other methods we've been talking today are like ways of freeing that up, which is fantastic. And my other request, I mean, we've only got a few minutes now, Deb, but do you want to breathe us out of this session today? Would that be too much?
No.
Okay, well then let's give you. We'll have a hard stop, but we'd love it if you would take us out of this session with an introduction to how you work. And Tom was thinking that as well, I think. Which is what seems to happen on a Monday now.
Okay.
We got a blue 120 first, and then it's over to you.
We've got 2. I've got about 5 books that are blue, but I've picked out 2.
Yeah.
So one of them is a past life book and an astrology and past lives. And interestingly, the other one is a crystal healing book, and it's brought up peridot. Now, the meaning for peridot is it's a protective stone for aura and powerful cleanser, releasing and neutralizing toxins and purifying the subtle and physical bodies of the mind, showing how to detach from outside influences to look on your own higher energies for guidance. What occurred to me when I was reading that, although it's not exactly a message, is you were talking about the chemotherapy and how it's caused some neuropathy. I wonder if those toxins that you are releasing through breath and through your divine living, I wonder if they are imprisoning you a little bit, you know, like the thought of the toxins or the thought of the treatment that you've had. I wonder if that has created a bit of a cage around you. The fact that it's mentioning it's a stone for aura and a powerful cleanser. I don't know what that means to you, but for me, as I read that, I think, oh, maybe as you can focus on releasing more and more and more, your courage will reemerge. But the past life message, okay, this is talking about feeling that you've been refused to allow any voice at all, even though you're intelligent and well-educated and proven yourself capable. This is actually talking about a past life of a king.
Nice big thumbs up from Deb there. Do you want to conclude that? Because we're not going to give Deb enough time if we don't.
So this is really saying if there's something in your past that has stopped you from being like a king and allowing yourself the voice, and if there's any feeling of a cage of toxins around you, you can breathe through it. So I hope that was helpful.
You've got 10 seconds, Deb. Only kidding. You've got a whole minute, in fact. So we'll go out with a hard stop so that we just give you the rest of the time. Deb, thanks so much. Tom, thank you very much. An offer of your free music there on the screen. Over to you, Deb.
Okay, I was going to put some music on, but I think we'll just do this since we have such short time.
Sure.
We're going to breathe in through the nose, breathing into the lower belly and up to the heart. And then out through pursed lips like you're blowing through a straw. We're going in for 2 and out for 6. We're going to take 5 breaths that way. And we'll begin, breathe in. And then out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in for 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in for 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. In, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One last deep breath in and hold. Release with a big sigh.
Thank you, Deb.
Just notice how your body feels. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much indeed. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Tom.
Day.
Let's do that again, Deb. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.